Hello everyone, welcome to Mountain Computers. Today we've got a possibly familiar face, although it's been quite a long time. This is my roommate from my junior year of college. His name is Daniel. Daniel, it's been, like 5-6 years maybe since you've been on the channel?
Yeah.
Daniel was in my very first YouTube video. We were putting a computer together from an OEM system that we were upgrading basically with a graphics card and a CPU. And today we're going to be putting him a whole new computer together. He's actually sort of rebuilt the one that we did for him back then. And it's a little bit more modern now, but as I understand it, that one is also getting a little bit older. So you're looking, right, Daniel, to basically revamp the whole thing with a new board and, well, a whole new system, really. Yeah. All right. So what Daniel has ready and has brought up here for us to take a look at is a B450 board, which we will probably have to look at updating the BIOS on, just in case it hasn't been updated already. I noticed they say it's Ryzen 5000 desktop ready, so we might not actually have to update the BIOS at all. I think it's already been updated, actually. It was something we were worried about, is that sometimes these don't ship updated already, but I guess we're good this time, theoretically, if we can trust the box there, yeah. We've got a 650 watt power supply over here, and what'd you go for, 16 gigs of RAM? Yeah, I think it's 3600 megahertz as well. The camera doesn't want to focus on it particularly well, but yeah, that should be fairly nice there. I actually hadn't prepared for this shot to go so smoothly for us to be going over components already, because I thought we were going to jump into BIOS updates, but apparently now that I've read that, that's not going to be the case. This is a 1 terabyte XPG SSD that we got Daniel. So aside from the 1 terabyte SSD there, at the heart of the system here, we've got a Ryzen, what is this, a 5600G? Am I wrong? No, it was slightly lower, right? If the camera could focus, there we go. We could probably see that it is it is a 5600G. Okay, hey, how about that? I surprisingly managed to get that correct. And then on the floor over here, we've got a Lian Li case, I believe. I can maybe figure out what case that is in another shot, but yeah, we're going to basically just be very informally putting a computer together today, and I'll be documenting the process quite unprofessionally through video. All right, so we've tracked down the case box here, and it is Lian Li, but it's a Lancool 205M. So yeah, we're gonna start putting parts together now, I guess. All right, so I guess I'm just gonna film sort of through the process here. It might wind up a rather long video in that case, but Daniel's getting the motherboard out here, so that's where we're gonna start. Yeah, there's just some tape there. You undo that on the back. Be careful, but just peel the tape up. There we go. Alright, this table is not particularly static safe, so you'll want to use that box actually as or the bag. The outsides of the bags aren't necessarily always the most static proof, but whatever. What do we got down here? We got an I/O shield, we got, what is this, Wi-Fi probably antenna? Yeah, that's what that is. Alright, that should pretty much do it. Here we've got the motherboard. Just turn it this way probably. There's the Wi-Fi chipset. We've got two PCI Express by 16 slots, one of which I think is electrically such, and the other one is only probably like a by 8. It's an AM4 board, of course, being with the B450 chipset. It's pretty standard these days, not very cutting edge, but I think Daniel was really looking for the cutting edge, just an updated system that wasn't quite so on the low end as where he was before. So the next thing I think we're going to want to get out here is the CPU. So, all right. So next, yeah, you're just going to pull that out, and I mean, there's a cooler in there too that we'll be looking for in a second. Yeah. Go ahead and just open that box, but don't pull the cooler out yet. Just pull that plastic topper off. Yeah, there you go. All right, so to install the CPU, we're going to want to just go ahead and lift this bar. You're going to have to pull it that way in order to, yeah, lift it. There you go. So then you just open up the CPU, and you're probably familiar with this process already, but there's a gold triangle on this corner of the CPU. You know, you line that up with this corner of the socket usually, and it just sort of drops into place. Ooh, be careful with that arm. Yeah, there you go. I think that's in. Feels like it, sure. So just lower the retention arm into place, lock it at the bottom. Good enough. Not incredibly clean install, but as long as you haven't damaged anything, it should be just fine. So next is going to be the cooler install. So in order to get this cooler on there, we're actually going to want to undo these 4 screws first. So I'm going to pause the video quick, guys, and we'll be back with you once we're installing the cooler here.
Oh, sure, I didn't have to. Because I think last time I applied the thermal paste. When I upgraded my old one.
Yeah, when you upgraded the old one, you probably didn't have like a brand new cooler with it. I don't remember, yeah. But it comes with pre-applied thermal paste on the cooler here. So yeah. What we're going to do next is go ahead and put that cooler on. We've got these AM3 compatibility mounting systems removed, and so it's actually directional, and it's the other way. So the long side is this side, and so you want this is your long side. Yeah, that direction basically. So yeah, you'll just plop it down with the screws lined up basically, and the pre-applied thermal paste isn't fantastic, but it should be basically okay. And, and then you can make sure I find the
yeah.
You can go ahead and start screwing those in. I would do this one in a cross pattern and sort of in tapered increments of tightness, because I've noticed on several occasions when I've done the installs on these that if you over crank the first side, you can't get the across side down correctly. So yeah, at this point this is just screw tightening, so we'll be back with you in just a second. All right, so we've got the fan plugged in here now, and next is going to be the process of installing the memory. Of course, you've got this time around the dual latching system on the RAM, so we're going to go ahead and put this in dual channel. Just flip out these 4 latching mechanisms, and then we'll line the notches on the memory up with the little notches in the slots here, push down on both sides, and that will wind up having your RAM installed. It's pretty much there already. You just have to grab it from the top and pull it up.
Not working well.
Yeah, you got it. You can give them a fair yank. The memory is not particularly memory sensitive. So you've got it backwards right now. Just flip it around. Yeah, there you go. And then line the little notch on this there and on the other end as well. I'm not sure that you've got the other end quite centered there, but there you go. I think you've mostly got it. And then just go ahead and give it a good shove down. You don't have to be gentle with it. There you go.
There we go.
Nice. Do the second one here now. Yeah, that way.
This way?
Yep. I think so, from what I could see.
Yeah, this way. Here we go.
Get it to click there on both sides.
There we go.
All right, cool. All right, next step. We're on to post-testing the system. We've moved it onto the motherboard box for this process. We've got a display hooked up over here in my very, very tiny little display that I use for mostly doing troubleshooting on the server stack stuff, since I don't usually feel like pulling a full-sized system over to, or a full-size display over to do that with. It's not turning on. Why isn't it turning on? I don't know. Oh, I bet you the switch over there isn't flipped. Why don't you flip that on there? Hey, all right, yeah, we've got a light over there now. So now when this comes on, hey, we have display. All right, that's on HDMI already, so we're on to doing the power supply now. One thing with this power supply that we noticed, which I'll talk through while Daniel undoes the cables there from their cable ties, is that these this particular line, rather, of power supply from EVGA seems to have two different switches on it, which is unusual for a power supply. You've got your mains power switch here, and then you've got this other eco mode switch, which we were sort of both new to, more notably possibly myself, because I've never seen this before, but apparently it's just a switch that puts it into an eco mode. Oh boy, no surprises there given the label, but what does that actually mean? Apparently what it actually means in terms of operation is that it will allow the fan to go into a no-spin mode when you're appropriately not drawing enough power, and it will also try to limit your inefficiencies in the power supply, I guess you could say. It will make the operation more efficient, but at the cost of power supply performance, so you won't get probably quite as clean or as powerful of an output. So if you're not running a high-grade GPU in a system, probably best to have that on. You save a little bit of power from the wall. But if you are, for instance, gaming, you probably should go ahead and turn that on. Also notable with the power supply not having the fan spinning is that the extra heat in the components may potentially cause an earlier death. But if EVGA is smart, they've already tuned that so that the fan does eventually spin up at some point. I'm not sure that either of us is familiar enough with the operation at this point to really be able to tell much about that, but given that Daniel is not running a dedicated GPU in here, he's just going to use the integrated graphics on the 5600G, which should be more than fine enough for playing the kinds of games he plays at about 1080p resolution. It's probably not going to be a big deal. We'll go ahead and keep the switch on, and so yeah, we'll go ahead and plug these cables in now, and then we will post-test the system, make sure it actually turns on and that we haven't gotten any dead components here. So yeah, go ahead, Daniel. Just start plugging in here. This is a fully modular unit. You've got your main motherboard connector here for 24-pin, and then you've got a CPU connector up here. Daniel's going to go ahead and plug that motherboard cable in. You'll want it the other way around so that the latches line up with the holes for them. And notably not in use here are several SATA connectors and then a Molex connector and some, actually, yeah, that is correct. And a couple of GPU connectors. So Daniel's only going with an M.2 SSD for this particular system, which is fine for his use case. He doesn't really need much more storage, and also for now, he won't have a dedicated GPU given the way the market's been going. It's turning better lately. You can get GPUs pretty cheap right now, it seems like. So a GPU upgrade might be in short order, but of course there's some extra cost involved with that. So Daniel's going to work on... there's a little, I don't know, tooth that goes out from one side. So as long as you're lining that up correctly and you manage to get that all the way down, then you should be good.
And then this one goes here.
Yes. GPU upgrade possibly in the near future on this system, but for now we're just going ahead and operating with integrated graphics. I think it goes the other... maybe you've got it. No, you've got it. You're good. Yeah. I mean, you can plug those in one at a time. Some power supplies have the cable set up so that you can't do that, and they're kind of annoying, but I think you've got it there. So yeah, we'll go ahead and plug in the AC inlet on the power supply now. We'll plug that into our power strip and the operating in the back there. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, in the back? Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't see that. Okay.
It has a weird slide system, and it's still very tight because I haven't plugged many things in on it yet. Go ahead and flip the switch on that to the on position.
It is on.
Oh, is it on? The main switch is on? Okay, well that's fine then. We'll go ahead and attempt to jump start the system here. I think this is our our front panel connection. I haven't read the manual ahead of time, so I'm just gonna do the lazy man's. Oh, there we go. I hit it. We've got fan spin, which is a good sign, and as long as the memory gets detected correctly, we should be able to see this display eventually wind up showing us some extra information for the BIOS on the system. So we'll continue rolling the camera until we have that, and then Daniel and I just start prepping some more steps off camera. But in the meantime, of course, memory training on this platform does take some time, so it will take a few seconds for us to get anything on screen, but there we go. We've got the BIOS showing us some information.
BIOS has been reset.
Yeah, they always reset them. Alright, here we go. We realized that before we put the thing in the case, we should probably put the SSD in. We didn't need it for doing post-testing things, but Daniel's going to go ahead and put that in now, so we'll just see if I can get a half-decent angle on that process here. Just going to slide it forward there into the slot. Oh, yeah, a little more forward, Daniel. Forward this way. There you go. That's good. That's good. Put it down. Now you just put the screw in on the end and screw it down, of course. Tough things to work on these screws. Watch out, because that's not a magnetic bit, so I'm actually not even sure if that's a ferrous screw, but either way, you just be a little careful with it. There we go. All right, good going. The other ratchet just needs to be locked there. Just twist the yellow collar on that. Yeah, there you go. Good enough. Oh,
how do I lift up?
Huh? How do you lift up? There. No, just twist the yellow collar. There you go. Now you should be able to tighten, all right. Good.
Tighten.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
All right, cool. And then this SSD actually comes with a little thermal pad that you can install onto the SSD as well. Make sure you get the text facing upwards, Daniel, so that it looks correct. Otherwise, we'll get 12 comments about it. Probably not. I never get 12 comments on a video, but
I think that's just turn orientation because the way the thermal paste is being.
I think you're actually correct. I was joking about the other thing, but you can also see that there's this notch on the end of the sticker that correlates with the notch here for the screw. So just go ahead and install it that way. Try and get it straight. Yeah, that's good going. All right, case time. Be back with you in a second. All right, here we go. We're installing the I/O shield now. That's a crucial step here, of course. And don't forget, Daniel, that you've got that fan cable there, so don't get that caught in there. You're gonna have to pull it up. Yeah, this is a somewhat painful process that involves a fair bit of force, so don't be afraid to, just give it the beans or whatever expression you prefer. Definitely give it a good shove to get the shields to lock into place inside of the case there. You're a little crooked. You can tell your left side is a little higher than it should be.
Yeah.
Oh, you got that fan cable still there. Yeah, just pull that out of the way. There you go. Alright. Yeah, you're good going there. Alright. Yeah, that's it. Alright, so next is installing the motherboard, like I just said. Daniel's going to go ahead and slot that down into the case here. Go ahead. Just going to kind of try to make sure that the I/O lines up there. It's looking pretty good. Just going to shove it to the side to make sure that the screw holes are lined up. We'll be back with you once we get those screws installed. Alright, so Daniel's going to go ahead and work on getting the power supply in here now. It's going to be on the back side here, Daniel, and in the meantime I'll show the audience that we went ahead and got the front panel cables installed here off camera as well. Here's audio, USB 3, and the actual front panel connections. So we'll work on getting the power supply cables installed, of which there should only be 2 on this very simplified system at this point. Then we'll be right back with you once again. Alright, I think we've pretty much got the system put together here. Power supply is installed. We did a little bit of very basic cable management. I think the only thing standing out as particularly bad is this cable kind of being routed diagonally here, and this one just sort of dangling, but they're not going to impede airflow or anything, and this side of this case is a solid panel, so it's not going to be seen pretty much anyways, so we're going to call it good enough, I think, right, Daniel?
Yeah.
Alrighty, so yeah, we're going to go ahead and start doing BIOS setup stuff on this and installing Windows. We'll do that outside of the video, but for now, hopefully I can get us in frame here, both. We'll give it a shot. Thanks everyone for joining us again on Mountain Computers. Thank you, Daniel, for making the trip up to hang out and build a computer together here, and it's good to see you again, and we'll be back on some more episodes of Mountain Computers, hopefully before too long, everyone. Thanks for watching.